OpenAI has released GPTs, and one of the reasons they're so powerful is their ability to pull data from other applications and systems. And the easiest way I found to do this with no code is to use Zapier, which can connect to thousands of applications with easy to configure actions. In this video, I'll show you 5 steps to get Zapier working with your GPT. And as always on this channel, I like to show real business use cases. I'm going to set up a GPT that lets you upload a photo of an invoice. The GPT will detect it as an invoice, take the key data off it, such as the total amount and the due date, and then use Zapier to send emails and even create calendar entries on the due date to remind you to pay. It works really well. The first step is just to link up your ChatGPT account with your Zapier account. So go create a free Zapier account and use the same account you use for ChatGPT. It's gonna make it a lot easier. Once the account's all set up, just go to the website and I'll put this link in the description under step 1. Go to this website and just say allow. This will allow your GPT to connect to Zapier and run actions. The second step is to set up a Zapier action. And there's a special website you have to go to specifically for the GPT AI actions. So put that in the description under step 2. So just say add new action here. And the actions are things we're going to do inside our GPT. For example, send an email. And there's many different actions you can find, but when you're first setting this up, just select one and get that working first. And I find an easy one to start with is the Gmail create draft or send email action. So let's try out the Gmail send email. And the first time you do this, you have to connect your Gmail account and approve it so you can send emails through that account. The fields we need to set up with this action are the to, subject, and body. So for each of these, you have an option. You can say do not include a value for this field, so basically leave it blank. Or you can have AI guess a value for this field. And if you select this value, this leaves it up to the GPT to fill in the value. Or you can set a specified value for the field. This is basically hard coding it. So for the to, I'm just gonna hard code it to be my email address. But for the subject and body, we're gonna have AI guess the field. And we'll do that configuration in a later step. But for now, you can just enable the action. So now that we've linked up our ChatGPT and Zapier account, and we've created the Zapier action, the third step is to create a new GPT, and then there's another additional step to do the linking with Zapier, which I'll show you here in a second. So go to create a GPT, and in configure, go down and say create new action. And then in here, click import from URL. And I'll put this link in the description for step 3, and just click import. And it's going to bring back a big schema definition of the APIs available from Zapier. And if you see all this text in here, you know you're good. You can just go back. And now you're going to see your action down here listed. And so from here, just give your GPT a name. I'll call this one Invoice Genie. That's a really cool feature here to add the profile picture. You can actually use DALL-E. Oh, that's cool. I really like that picture. So step 5 is where we bring it all together and actually set up the instructions for our GPT. But to do that, we want to make sure that our actions are actually loaded in here and have the connection correct. So to do that, just edit the GPT. And in the preview, just ask it to provide the Zapier actions and IDs. So now it's going to talk to Zapier, and it should get back that action we created in step 2. So now we can take the name of the action and the ID. I like to use both of them together to really identify what action we want to use. And we'll use this in our instructions. So now if you go back to configure, so now in our instructions, we can be very explicit and say, use this Zapier action to send emails and put in there the action name and the ID. In addition to defining that action, you also want to put other things in the instructions on what this GPT should actually do. So in this example, I said, you are an expert at extracting data from invoices. When looking at an invoice image, grab 3 data fields: the vendor, the total amount, and the due date. Then send an email with the following fields. And then I gave it a pattern to use to set the subject line and the body. Those are those 2 fields in Zapier that we said let AI handle. And so this is us telling it exactly how we want it to handle that. And that's it. Your GPT is ready to go. So now just test it out. Just make sure the action actually works. So I just dragged in this one I found on the internet. Fairly straightforward, but it has some trickiness with the side text. It's got 3 line items on it for a total amount of $2,000. And there we go. It says the email's been sent. Let's see if we got it. And here it is, exactly the format we asked for. So the Vision and ChatGPT did a great job of extracting all the data for that invoice. The AI figured out all the key fields, sent it over to Zapier, and sent this email out. A really useful GPT. And after this, I built a new action for the calendar. And so I got it to put a reminder in my calendar when this invoice was due. I love these GPTs. They're so useful and so powerful. So I'm gonna do more videos on them coming up. But the only limitation with them is that you have to run them inside ChatGPT. And if you're trying to write a true enterprise application or business application, you don't want to have to live inside ChatGPT. So you can do everything you can do in the GPTs in code using the new Assistance API. But it is a lot more technical to use, and it's a lot more complicated than even the chat completion APIs that OpenAI previously released. But it's just so powerful. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I hope you have an amazing day. I'll talk to you in the next one.